Welcome back to V8 Creative and part 32 of the Ultima RS build, and on this mega episode we're going to be focusing on the side pods and carbon fibre upgrades. Welcome back to the Dean Den, and I've got a 2-day pass, 2 whole days. And what I'm going to be focusing on, which I'm going to cover during this episode, is the final fitment of those side pods and a carbon fibre upgrade I ticked when I ordered this kit. Now, what we're going to be doing first is I'm going to be finalising the luggage bin on the driver's side, which holds the ECU and fuse box. Then I'm going to do some wiring and then putting on those beautiful carbon fibre sill covers. And finally, I'm going to put on, for the last time, those side pods. So all that's left to say is, let's get spannering. In part 31, you saw me routing the engine loom through the driver's side luggage compartment. Now, the next stage is to mount the ECU and also the small fuse box that goes with the ECU on the outside wall of a luggage container. The reason why the ECU and its fuse box are mounted in here is, one, it's dry, and also, two, it's free from dust, and that's really what you want for these sorts of components. Now, I've already mounted here the fuse box, and quite luckily the front of it comes away from its stand. So basically I've drilled 2 holes, put M6 riv nuts in here, and now that will never move again. Mount the ECU on rubber bobbins. I do this to reduce the risk of vibration, which is always a wise precaution. Because these are just going to screw into these riv nuts, I'm going to put a bit of Loctite on them so they don't come undone. What you're going to see me do is get the ECU, plug in these 3 huge connectors, I mean they are huge, and then attach it to this outside wall. Okay, let's get going.
I'm driving, you're smiling, just really doing nothing. That's the thing I like about you. On the highway, it's our way, Route 66, and we keep on driving. We just do what we wanna do. Yeah, no, nothing's complicated with you. Hey, playing songs on the radio, sing along to the words that we don't know how. This brings out the problems. Let's just run away. Yeah, I could drive the whole along. Being with you is like being on the rodeo. How this brings out the problems. I got a little crush on you.
And there we have it, all done. Now, these 3 large connections, there's some little red tabs that you push down to make sure they don't come loose. And there you go. Now, this is the OBD port. Now, this is what's used to communicate with the ECU. Now, I'm not going to mount this just yet, because what I want to do is put the carbon fibre top in place, get it trimmed, get it fitted, and then I can understand where I need to mount this so it doesn't interfere with the carbon fibre lid, but is also accessible. Now, what we're going to do now is, because we're all complete in here, is we're going to move on to the front of the car and then route the engine loom behind the dashboard. So here we are, spaghetti electrics, but it's not too bad actually. The front of the engine loom has 3 spurs, 1, 2, 3. Now let's take one at a time. Now this one here goes to the positive supply of the battery. That's pretty straightforward. And then there's a plug here. Now that plug goes into the potentiometer on the pedal. And that's basically it. So that one's pretty simple, and that's going to route down underneath the dash along like on the front bulkhead. Next we have, ta-da! Now this one has only got 3 wires on it. Now what this is for is this allows the ECU to actually activate the cooling fans on the radiator. So these actually route to the fuse stroke relay box. And the reason why this is far better than just having a thermostatic switch in the radiator is because what this does is switch the fans on according to the temperature of the engine rather than the temperature of the water in the radiator. So that will go across the front of the dash. And then this one, this actually feeds into some instrumentation to allow the ECU to actually feed signals into those gauges. And that's it. Now, these can be attached to the chassis by either just zip ties, but I don't personally like doing that, or you can use P-clips, or you can use saddles, which then have a zip tie to go around them. And for me, I'm a P-clip man, so I'll speed this up, but you'll see what I'm doing here, and it's all about being neat. Anyway, let's get spannering. Right, spaghetti wiring completely installed. Really straightforward actually. And anyway, next, carbon fibre sill covers. Now, this is an upgrade option for Ultima, and I had to have them because when you open those butterfly doors, it is just lovely to have an expanse of carbon fibre looking at you. Well, here they are. So let's get unwrapping. Look at that. Can you see? Oh, wow. What a lovely bit of kit. Now these are handed, so I've got to be careful here. So this one is the passenger side. So I don't want that one, I want the other one. So what you can see here is we have to generate cutouts for where the chassis tubes and the roll cage tubes go around this. Wow, that's a bit scary, but I've bought some cardboard to make a template. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see me from above, and let's just start making a template.
to you.
So there we have it, template produced, overlaid on top of the carbon fibre using the centre of this hole as the datums. So what you'll see here is I cut out the holes roughly and then use tape to actually get snug up to the roll cage. And then what I'll do now is I'll take this off and then I will get a little sander, and what I'll do is I'll sand this away, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be really easy. This is sort of one shot. If I mess this up, it's an expensive bit of carbon fibre.
And to you.
And there we have it, complete, bonded in place. What a beautiful, beautiful upgrade. And I would urge you, if you've got the pennies, definitely go for this. It's beautiful. And what you probably can't see, because I've covered the leather roll cage, is it snugly fits that leather around that carbon fibre. Now, as you can see here, we have a hole, and the lid, which is also matching carbon fibre, fits in just like so. And what I did is, when I bonded this in place, I made sure the carbon fibre sat perfectly onto the chassis. So this sits absolutely perfectly. Now, what we can see here now is where we want to put this OBD port. So it can't go there. I don't really want it on this back bulkhead because that's where the pull cables are. What I'm thinking is down here.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is till you're older. So let us dance this night away. Our bodies move to the groove and the light the flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. Get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air get thinner. Standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. Feel the air get thinner. I'm standing in a blurry dream.
As you can see here, the side pod actually fits underneath this carbon lip here, and this is sealed with sealant when you know everything's in exactly the right place. So this at the moment is held on by a skin pin here, this bolt that goes in here, this countersunk bolt, and then also at the back there are 2 skin pins at the back, and that's it. And pretty good. Now some of you will have noticed this scoop here. I have something planned for that, but you're going to wait for a future episode to see what I'm going to put there. Right, I must say it's looking good. Roll bar's great. I do love this leather, I must say, and how it fits beautifully around these seal tops. Just look at it. Okay, right, let's go back to the fuel tank. Right. What you can see, this is really funny. Okay, what you can see here is I've trimmed this vapor seal so it perfectly fits against the tank and the bodywork. You'll see what I've done is I've marked it over here with tape so I know exactly the height I need to stick it. So when I take this off for the last time, I'm going to stick this high density foam to this bodywork, this side pod, and when it pushes up it will fit perfectly against the tank. So here's the pack of goodies that come to mount the tank and protect it. So here is the expanding foam, which I'll use in a minute. Just pop that out there. And then in here we have the riv nuts and pop rivets, of course, riv nuts to actually attach this tank onto that rear bulkhead. So these look pretty meaty, they look like M6. Anyway, let's drill these out, these 2 holes, and then pop in the riv nuts. expanding foam. Now this needs to be applied in multiple areas. First, down this chassis tube here, and then on several locations around the tank. So I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to show you on the tank where it needs to go, and then we're going to put the tank on for the last time.
It's the same for all the people in the world. A million different ways just to be heard. All the more reason to be sad when hard words turn the good into the bad. We are all dependent on our future. Reason burns right through worry mind. Something else that sets the stage. Can never blame a heart that makes the choice to do the best of what we find. If we could see through a million eyes, if we could see the wound, the truth and everything, if we could listen to the rolling of the dimes, if we could hear 1,000 voices when they sing, they sing. Oh, 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 oh. We believe what we've been taught by those before us. We close our eyes to what we know might lie ahead. Only listen to the voices that adore us. But the future will remember what we said. If we could see through a million eyes, if we could see the wound, the truth and everything, if we could listen to the rolling of the dimes, if we could hear 1,000 voices when they sing, they sing. Oh, 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 oh. I'll never blame you if you're hurting. All the more reason not to break. If we could see through a million eyes, if we could see the wound, the truth and everything, if we could listen to the rolling of the dimes, if we could hear 1,000 voices when they sing, they sing. Oh, 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 and they sing. Oh, 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 oh.
What an episode. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, because I seriously have, for two very good reasons. Firstly, putting components on for the last time is just so amazing. And any of you out there that have built component cars or restored classics, you know exactly what I mean. And secondly, I can start to see the final finish on the car. The bits, the shiny bits, so to speak. And those are the parts that really bring this beast to life. Now, on that note, what I'm going to be doing is closing up for this episode, but just a bit of a recap for next time. I'm going to be focusing on the center section prior to installing it on the car for the last time. And what I mean by that, I'm going to be covering the dash with leather to match the roll bar, and also I'll be carpeting the floor of the cockpit and also the back firewall. So until then, keep tuned. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps the channel. And all I can leave you with is, remember, always enjoy spannering.